Trump has announced that the United States is going to start thinking about acquiring what's called tactical nuclear weapons. So there's different types of nuclear weapons. There's strategic nuclear weapons, which are the missiles basically that you launch that go into outer space and then they come back down and stuff like that. And those tend to be a pretty heavy yield, let's say like 100 kiloton, about maybe 4 or 5 times the size of Hiroshima. In other words, they're designed to like blow up a city. And there's another type of nuclear weapon called a tactical nuclear weapon. Tactical nuclear weapons are weapons that you use in the battlefield. For example, you can have nuclear artillery, like an artillery piece, a gun, that fires shells that are nuclear tipped. And those tend to be, let's say, like 1 kiloton or even less, like 1/15 the size of Hiroshima. And those are the kind of weapons that the United States wants to build. Now, you need to understand something, that these weapons existed during the Cold War, so it's nothing new specifically. And they're not developing a new kind of weapon. What they're doing essentially is they're matching Russia, because Russia has started deploying tactical nuclear weapons. They've deployed tactical nuclear weapons in Europe, and they've deployed them on submarines and carriers, and not carriers, destroyers and stuff like that, frigates. And after the end of the Cold War, both sides basically kind of eliminated these tactical nuclear weapons. But the Russians over the last 10 years have been sort of starting to like reintroduce them. And look, you know me, I'm not a Trump defender or anything like that.
Of course.
Very far from it, in fact. However, the announcement isn't much of a change in that these weapons used to exist. Now, it is a change in the sense that it's starting to look a lot more like the Cold War. Nuclear weapons have always been a political weapon, and this is something that Truman realized after dropping Hiroshima, that this is a kind of weapon that you can't mess around with. And starting with the Truman administration, the United States takes control of the weapons. The civilians take control, the president takes control, and he stands up to the military and takes control of the weapons, because the military wanted to control the weapons. Tactical nuclear weapons are always like kind of in the gray area, because it's something that's a battlefield kind of weapon, but civilians control it, so it's kind of mixed. And that's the danger that we have. I mean, civilians controlling the strategic weapons that are flying over, over space and headed for Moscow, or vice versa, from Moscow headed to Mexico City. I doubt it, but those are easier to control because they're under political control. These tactical weapons, it's a little gray. So what it does is it contributes to already an unstable situation with Russia. So it's something that's been building up for the last little while. I think most of it has been, the Russians are to blame for most of it. Putin in particular is to blame for most of it. And in a way, what the United States is doing now, what the U.S. military is doing now, is kind of reacting to what the Russians have already done. Well, SALT, there's the ABM treaty, which technically the United States violated when they started building anti-ballistic missile systems. But these anti-ballistic missile systems are essentially targeting defense against Iran or North Korea. So, I mean, you start getting a violation there, right? But the tactical weapons were removed under, I'm not quite sure, I think it was START 2, START 3, but the Russians violated it previously. The Russians have already deployed tactical weapons, tactical nuclear weapons. Okay. They're already out there. And to be honest with you, I really don't think they completely eliminated them. Again, I don't see this as such a big deal, maybe as you see it. Mm-hmm. I see it, it's a big deal in the sense that we're starting to do things the way we did them in the Cold War. And in that sense, it's a sign of the times. It's a sign that things are not going well between the United States and Russia.